My journey actually began in medicine was more by chance than by destiny. Our family originally hails from the then undivided India in West Pakistan and Northwest Frontier Province in a place known as D.I. Khan, Dera Ismail Khan, on the banks of the river Indus, on the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan. Our family saw hardships which was unlike anything else before. We saw, they saw the misery and the torture of partition, of the killing, of the blood, of the tears, and traveled more than 1,000 kilometers by road or by overburdened trains, without food, without water, without a penny, without a woolen, entering the cold, bitter winter of 1947, reaching Delhi, railway platforms, living on the platforms for many months. Those were extremely, extremely difficult times. We've heard of stories which are called as rags to riches. Ours was a story of riches to rags. Our wealth, according to the Britishers at that time, was best described as being obnoxiously rich. There's a book written on us. We had cars which included Rolls-Royce in 1920s and 30s. We had 3,500 acres of rich cultivated agricultural lands. We had canals of water allocated to us during the British Raj. We had our own private hospitals, even our own private yacht, amongst very many other riches. Leaving all this behind and coming into India without any money, without any support system, this was actually the true pictures of where most of the people during that era had to survive for not many months, maybe a year or two, without any support structure. That was the real misery of the partition. To make ends meet, I realized that I needed to educate myself in the best institutions the world can offer. And for that, I needed to soar. For soaring, I needed to read, and I needed to read in the best institutions this planet could probably offer. And God bestowed on me 2 beautiful fellowships and scholarships. The era of post-partition in the last 75 years can best be described in 4 parts, roughly of 15, 20 years each. The first was just of mere survival, 50s and 60s. The second was actually of to build a life, which was in 70s and 80s. 90s and 2000s, people started converting life to lifestyle. And now India and Indians have become inspirational and aspirational. The second major blessing which God bestowed on me was being educated in the best schools possibly which India could offer. And then the medical education, but all through, my vision and aim and deepest passion was always sports and cricket. In 1975, my mother managed to get me my first international cricket bat, which is called as Grey Nichols, which even till date most international cricketers use in almost every part of the world, in all continents. And I still have that. I used it for almost 20, 25 years playing professional cricket in Bombay. On a particular Sunday, I remember an ex-Indian cricketer came to meet my father, who was in Hindustan Petroleum at that time, asking him, can I get a job in his company, because he was not earning very well. Test cricketers were not paid very well during that era. And as soon as he left, the huge dream in my heart just vanished, evaporated very quickly. And it was inconceivable in that time to sit and argue or discuss with parents. Parents said that this is it, no more cricket, get back to academics, and so it was. And then it was medicine, and medicine has been, again, one of the most enjoyable, most heartfelt, most professionally satisfying journeys. It's an endless romance, which I feel, between me and medical science, which is ongoing even till date. There are a few very, very fortunate moments which God gives us is to honor and respect our teachers. Teachers give us knowledge during our educational days. The lady on the left is Dr. Minina, my mentor, my guide, my godmother in MBBS. I sit by her feet. This is a picture of last year. And the picture on the right is Dr. KP Mehta, who taught me pediatrics, taught me how to manage children, how to treat critical children. I'm indebted to them throughout my life. In 2006, I was awarded the Padma Shri Award by the most immaculate and the most kindest soul on earth, late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And in 2008, I got the Dr. B.C. Roy Award from the president then, Mrs. Pratima Patil. I'm extremely fortunate, humbled. The medical arena gave me an opportunity to travel the world to enhance my medical knowledge and skills in the best colleges and universities in USA, in Canada, in UK, in Australia, and so on. And it also gave me an opportunity to teach and impart my knowledge in various continents, including in Africa, in places like Kenya, in Congo, in Ethiopia, in South Africa, in CIS countries such as Uzbekistan, down in South Pacific Islands or Papua New Guinea, where healthcare really needs improvement. In 2010, a turning moment happened. A friend gave me a ring, and this is really interesting. A friend gives me a ring, and he says, "Doc, there is a pair of conjoined twins born in Bihar. Would you like to take them on?" So my heart and mind went into a battle zone. My heart said yes, and my mind said no. It was one of the rarest, most complicated set of surgeries which we needed to perform. The children were transferred by train, and we reached over here, and literally we were overwhelmed to see two really critical malnourished children, which were joint, abdomen downwards, all organs intermingled. They were two bodies, but one mass of flesh. The hip, the pelvis, the thighs, the internal organs, the entire set of abdominal structures were joined. So we conducted this surgery after great amount of immaculate planning. It lasted for more than 12 hours. I was the CEO of a major private corporate hospital then in Delhi, and 27 doctors of 9 different specialties worked relentlessly. The children were there for 3 months. We had moments of despair, criticalities, and a lot of prayers. These kids survived. After a month, they were able to sit and stand on their own, and about 3 months later, these children were discharged. And I can tell you from my heart, there is no greater satisfaction and gratitude than to get the love and affection from this laborers, poor family. We did this complete set of surgeries free for them. And I must thank my team of doctors who helped me accomplish this. So these are moments in which you get an opportunity to put your hand up when everyone else says no. You can actually make a difference to many, many lives. And there are just a few handful of these rare surgeries which have been accomplished so far in the world. In 2011, a media house contacted me and he says, "Doc, since you're accomplished in doing these kind of rare surgeries, would you like to take on another case, which is an acid attack victim?" This was a young, beautiful NCC cadet, young girl at the age of 20 who had acid poured on her face. She had lost her entire head, her scalp. There were no eyes, there was no nose, there was no mouth, no ears. She had lost her complete set of chest tissues, including her breast, her back. And it was extremely, extremely sad to say. My heart and mind were again in the same familiar battle zone. Heart said yes, mind said no. We gathered the best team of doctors and we did series of surgeries. And I must compliment the media house. They launched an international fundraising campaign for this girl. And this caught the attention of Amitabh Bachchan. This girl was called on KBC show. She not only raised awareness internationally for acid attack victims, but earned good amount of money for herself to get a head start. This girl is back in Jharkhand, married. She has a government job. And in fact, in the same state where she went back, she had actually asked the Jharkhand High Court, begging for euthanasia, to end her life for mercy killing. That was the torture, pain. So these are moments which God gives that we can actually make a difference in the world. Being a continuous misfit, I've always fought the old systems, challenged the old systems and old protocols. Sometimes you're so outstanding that you're made to stand out, literally out of the system, but you got to fight the system. And all through the last 40 years of me being in medicine, especially in the last 10, 15 years in being in hardcore medical admin, I have always thought that the hospitals are very unfriendly. They are poorly designed. Malls turn into hospitals. Sometimes cinema theaters turn into hospitals. Residential buildings turn into hospital. And that was all going wrong. None of them were accurately designed. So I embarked actually on a 2-year journey to relearn why hospitals can be designed accurately. They can be digitally smart. You can use technology to the core. And I came back and started and created a lot of hospitals in Delhi, the latest one being a 480-bed hospital in Delhi, which is perhaps one of the most advanced in terms of digital technology. to give better clinical care, clinical excellence, operational excellence, and patient feels at home. In life, always have a mission. I think it's important to fight for things which most people take for granted that it's someone else's job. I've been a great fighter in the advocacy fight for clean air. I've done numerous programs and television shows to fight for this, working with the government agencies for public health improvement. And last and not the least is technology in healthcare. Uh, there are various platforms which were used, like I've been a hardcore member of FICCI, of CII, of ASHACOM, in which we are controlling the policy-making decision of pricing, of public health policies, and so on. Then in 2019 came the dreaded COVID-19. I think everyone is worldwide familiar, and we are still in various parts of the world undergoing the aftermath of COVID and some in COVID still. And early warning signs were coming in December 19, and in 2020, in March 24th, if everyone remembers, India went into a complete lockdown. And then wave after wave, there was the alpha, the beta, the delta, the gamma, and now the Omicron, and there are more than 600 subvariants of Omicrons. And then there was a spate of public health messages. I must have done more than 1,500 to 2,000 television shows in these last 2 years, just in these last 2 years, to give the message of the correct science, to explain to people at large. Everyone was locked in, and the only source of information was actually the electronic media. People were even scared to touch the newspapers at that time. And it was a journey unlike anything else before. It was a frontal attack on humanity, a catastrophe which, at least medically, in 40 years, I've never seen. We lost more than lakhs of innocent people in India itself. More than 2,500 doctors lost their life. More than 1,000 doctors lost their life just in the Delta second wave in Delhi NCR. And if you ask me truthfully, was I scared? I was mortified, because we were seeing patients when no one else was. We were seeing patients and we didn't know what is going to happen to them. We didn't know what was happening to us. The vaccines, the vaccine efficacies, the boosters, the different type of trial drugs, and so on and so forth. And I actually isolated myself for 18 months, slept on another room, another floor, didn't see my family for 18 months because my parents were old, and you were fearful that you may transmit the infection to the elderly. But this was an opportunity, again, in which we were thrown in as frontline warriors to help the public at large, to treat the public at large. But the amount of deaths we saw, in especially northern India, in 2021-22 was unforeseen. It was unprecedented. Really, the messages which I would like to give to everyone through my very humble career, which has lasted 40 years in medicine, and let me say that with great amount of belief that there is no greater profession and no greater responsibility which can fall on human shoulders than to be a doctor. And the one who does this with tact, with sympathy, with compassion, doesn't do himself only proud, does the entire humanity proud. And it's extremely important to carry this pride and this honor with the responsibility right up there, so that you can reach out to as many human lives as possible. Victory is in your mind first. If you are not convinced, you'll never win anything, and you'll never match up to anything. Success is a very lonely road. Get used to your own company. Not many people will be happy if you walk that path anyway, but you need to be rock solid. Have self-belief in your goals, in your own self. Careers are a long path. I have interviewed hundreds and thousands of candidates at different levels, and the first thing they ask is, why am I starting only at this? Careers are built over decades. They are built over many decades. Career is not short-lived. Don't look at finance, look at a career path, look at your job description later on in life. It's important to understand that careers are a long marathon. Pace yourself, hydrate yourself, rest yourself, pace yourself. It's like passing a baton from one era to another era. Don't be in a hurry, you'll fall. But falling is not bad. You must turn your fear into fearlessness. Have no fear. I again repeat, have no fear. Fear breaks your spirit, it breaks your courage, it breaks your conviction. It starts putting doubt in your mind. It starts putting superstitions in your mind. Have faith in yourself. If you are convinced that you need to do something and you're competent to do it, please go ahead and do it. But like I say, trying is not just trying. Trying is going all the way. Don't give up midway. It's okay to fall. And like I say, in life, in a long career, it's inevitable that you will face losses, you will face failures, but your failure is the first stepping stone towards long-term success. So don't worry if you fall. The important thing is how you pick yourself up. Have the courage to say no when everyone else is saying yes, if you think that your answer no is the correct answer to your heart, to your soul. And have the conviction again and the strength to go ahead and say yes, in spite of everyone staying away from it, provided you know what you're doing is correct. Once in my medical college days, I was tired, I was irritable, and there was something which was made at home. We have a small family. And I told my mom, I said, this is not, I used a word which was not appropriate, and I said, I don't want to eat this food. And my father looked at me and he says, why are you saying this? He says, I told him, Papa, I'm tired. He says, but if you enjoy what you do, you can't get tired. So really the key point is, if you enjoy your profession, if you enjoy it with passion, tiredness is out of question. And lastly, most important thing, my carry home message is attitude. Attitude for everyone, including me, is the most important thing in human life. It can make any home or break any home, make or break any marriage, any institution, any church, any temple. I can't change the past. I can only learn from it. I can't change the way people perceive about me, but I must have the inner belief to do what I think is correct. Therefore, your own self-belief, your own integrity becomes uncompromisable. Never compromise on it. That's not a tradable commodity. And in the end, only one thing which you have in your hand is your own attitude. 99% of things will happen in your life is how you react to that external situation, and only 1% because of the external situation. And if I turn the clock back, yes, I would have played a lot more cricket, surely, but I would have still pursued medicine. It's been magical, it's been rewarding, it's been emotionally satisfying. Extremely tough, let me add. There were days in which, for 15 years after leaving class 12, that's your school or junior college, it's been 18 hours a day, 19 hours a day, a lot of ward rounds. You do surgeries, you take OPD patients, you take critical patients. But in the end, in spite of it being perhaps the most demanding and enduring, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, I think medicine has been magical.